So the one skill you need to have to scale your online agency is the ability to sell. It doesn't matter how many appointments you set, it doesn't matter how many clients you actually get in your pipeline. If you can't sell them and convince them to give you money for your services, you're never going to succeed. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact sales framework that we use to close over 6 figures in agency sales, and how you can just copy it yourself and implement this into your agency to start closing people right now. So let's hop into my computer and I'll show you exactly how to get started. All right, so let's talk about how I close $3,000 per month AI SMMA clients. So I've been able to close over $50,000 in agency sales between all 3 of my agencies that I have started. And this is just one of our Stripe accounts, but in the Stripe account, you can see the gross volume over 50K. Now, I've started tons of different agencies. I've started Facebook ad agencies, web design agencies, and even SaaS agencies. And I've charged from $99 a month. You can see one of my clients at $99. All the way to over $3,000 per month, right? So I've done it all. I've sold every single type of package, from long form to monthly to one-time packages to pay-per results. I've done every single type of system. And the crazy part is that every single sale was exactly the same, right? Every single sale, no matter what the price, no matter what the context, no matter what the business, it's exactly the same. Because at its core, every sale and every single business is the same, because people will always buy for one reason and one reason alone. And let me actually map out a diagram for you to explain exactly what that reason is. So let's hop into my Miro. So this is really cool. I feel like Alex Becker. I love my boy Alex Becker, right? I'm going to feel like Alex Becker, Charlie Morgan, explain to you guys how to actually sell correctly and why people buy. So first, you have to understand why people buy in the first place, and that is something called the gap. So let's say this is Mr. Prospect here, right? We're going to draw this here. You guys can see I'm not the best with drawing, but you guys get the picture. So this is Mr. Prospect here. Now, Mr. Prospect, let's say he's in a situation, let's say he's in a financial situation where he wants to scale his business to 100K per year. And right now, he makes about 50K per year, right? He makes 50K. So he's in a situation where he's sad. He is sad because he does not make enough money, right? He's a little frowny face. Now, the thing is, what you are going to do is you're going to get into his business and say, hey, Mr. Prospect, I know where you are and I know where you want to go. So this is where he is, and where he wants to go is Mr. Prospect here making 100K, right? Makes 100K, right? So right here is there's this something here called the gap, right? Now this gap, I'm right here, the gap is the distance between the client's current situation and desired situation. And your goal as a business owner is to get him from point A to point B with your services. So for example, it doesn't matter what services you sell. This is why every single agency sales is the same. It doesn't matter what you sell. If you sell Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, YouTube advertising, it doesn't matter. What they want to do is get from point A to point B, and they can't do it on their own. So for example, you could do Facebook here. I'll put Facebook. I'll also put YouTube ads. I'll even put, let's say, Google ads, whatever the case may be. But you can see here that whatever method you do to get there, they don't care, right? They only care about one thing, and that's getting you from point A to point B. So this gap here is your biggest weapon in sales. So this gap, what it does right here, it creates something called pain, right? So this pain that the prospect has is the biggest thing you need to use to close them, right? Because when you actually hark on their pain, they're going to understand that if they don't solve this problem, they'll never, ever, ever reach their goals or live the life they want to live, right? And that goes deeper into the primary drivers that every single client and person has. Deep down, every single person has one goal in their life, and it's your job as a business owner to get them to that goal. So basically, if you have this big gap here, your job is to find out what that pain is, because people only buy because they're in pain, right? If there is no pain or problem, there is no sale. Look at every single business out there. Let's look at Apple, for example. Apple has made it so much easier for people to actually connect and learn online, right? With their phones, with their computers. And it's the same thing with the business or the service that you sell. So when it comes to pain, what you must do is find this pain, right? And this pain is different for every single person. Some people have the pain of not getting clients, when most companies do. Some people have the pain of having too many clients and want to manage it correctly. Whatever the case may be, you find this pain and you'll buy. So for example, if you're hungry and you want to buy a sandwich, what do? You go buy a sandwich. And why do you buy a sandwich? Because you're in pain. And the pain of being hungry is much more intense than the pain of, dying because you didn't eat a sandwich, right? So that's exactly what it is. So you need to park on that pain. Now, this is a very powerful method, and you can use this in a good way or a bad way. I'll explain to you exactly how to use it in a good way. And I don't suggest you use it a bad way, but I'll explain to you how to do it in a bad way as well. So the best thing that you need to do in your sales script and sales framework is to make people realize how happy they'll be when they use your product, right? This guy doesn't look that happy. Let me make him happier, right? They need to realize how happy they'll be when they use your product. So for example, if you're selling Facebook ad services, you need to focus on their desired situation and their happy life. So let's say, for example, here, his happy life is him here. You guys can tell I'm definitely not good at drawing, but he says his life is, he's happy here in, let's say the Hamptons are on the beach, right? He's sitting here. He's just chilling. He's chilling with his arms folded back, just like, yay, happy, whatever. So basically, you can see that he's there super happy because you got him to 100K per year. And that is your goal when it comes to your business. So what you want to do is throughout the entire system of the sale, you focus on his happy situation. Let's say he wants to retire. You talk about what it would be like if he retires, how much money he will need to retire, how he'll take care of his family if he retires. All these things make him feel happy, and the happiness will make him understand that this is the only way to get there. Now, what you also need to do is also realize that you can also do it the bad way, which is what I don't really suggest because it can be a little bit pressury, and I don't like high pressure sales, right? I like sales that focus on people's happiness and the pain of not being there, but you can focus on their specific desired situation as well. So let's say, for example, you focus on how bad their life is, because their life is pretty bad if they're not where they want to be. Let's focus on the fact that they make no money, they can't grow their business, they're frustrated, they're probably tired of going in and out with all these systems and having it not work. So you can also focus on the bad situation of life, and you can see he's sad. He's sad here with his life being terrible, right? Let's just put sad, right? Let's just put the word sad. Basically, he's sad, right? So you can either focus on their future or their current situation. Now, whatever you focus on, they need to understand that they need to do it and they need to work with you. Now, here's the second part of sales that's super important. And the second part is not only pain, but something called confidence, right? So confidence, I'm sure you guys know, is the actual belief that someone has that you could solve their problem. So for example, someone may be in tons of pain. Let's say, for example, they're in tons of pain, not making 50K a year, but they don't believe that you can actually do this. They don't believe you could change their lives. If they don't think you could change their lives, they're never going to buy from you, right? They need to make sure and understand that working with you is going to get them to point A to point B. And your confidence comes from a lot of different things. Your confidence may come from your past testimonials, right? Confidence may come from testimonials. It may come from testimonials. You guys get it. Test them, right? It can come from testimonials. It can also come from your case studies, right? Or it could even come from your guarantee, right? Another great way to get, wow, I cannot draw straight. But you guys get it. It comes from your testimonial, the case study, guarantee. Wherever the confidence is, they need to be confident that what you can do will change your lives, right? So that's what comes down to you believing in your service, and that really comes down to service delivery. And that's another video. I'll make a service delivery for you guys. But basically, those are the two things that you need in your sales script and sales system to make sure things work, right? So we got pain and we got confidence. Now that we have the framework and understand why people buy, let me actually show you our framework and our sales script and sales system. So if I go back up here, this is the exact sales script and system that we use. Now, what I want you guys to understand is you have to make it very simple. the more simple your sales are, the easier it is to replicate. Because we don't want to have sales calls and things that are much different or too different from each other, because it'll be very hard for you to figure out what you did wrong and what you did right. So make sure you have a simple step-by-step guide. So first, we're gonna have the intro, then we have the pitch, then we have the objection handling, and closing the deal, right? And each part has about a 30-minute time window, right? Yeah, it does depend, right? It does depend, but basically you want to be about 30 to 45 minutes for the intro, 20 to 25 minutes for the pitch, and so on and so forth with every piece here. Now, let me break down each part for you. So the intro, discovery, this is exactly what I like to call the ammunition section, right? So this is where you fill up your gun. Let me just draw a gun here for you guys to understand. So here is the ammunition section. So this is where you gather information, right? You gather information about your prospect. So the thing is, remember back then, we want to focus on finding the pain and make sure they buy from you, but you can't find the pain if you don't ask them questions. So this is where you ask questions about their business. You ask questions like, why are they in their situation? How much money do they make? Where do they want to go? What's the biggest issue, right? You figure out and hark on the pain that they're in, and this is where you gather ammunition. I like to call it ammunition because the more info you get on your client, the easier it is to close them, because you want to use all this ammunition that you gathered and you want to use it in the objection handling section, right? Because the best way to make sure someone buys from you is to understand their situation. So you can have as much info, just do as much as you can to figure out what you can help them with in their business. Now, this does take a lot of time. Now, a lot of times in the intro discovery section, we've noticed it takes maybe like 45 minutes to an hour just for this, but you have to be thorough. You have to be in depth, because if you don't understand their exact situation, you can't put your mind in their shoes, you'll never be able to sell them, right? Now, once you understand exactly where they are, then you have to go to the pitch, right? So you have to pitch them on what you can do and why it would help them. And we have an entire presentation. I'll show you the presentation at the end of the video, but this presentation is really good, and it shows them exactly how you can solve their pain, why you're the only person who can solve their pain, and why they need to take action now. Because if they don't take action now, they'll never change their life. And that comes back to the pain, the urgency. So once you actually figure out the pitch, right, and you have the intro, then you go to objection handling. Now this is where you let your gun go, right? This is where you let off shots, right? This is the guy. Let me just draw a guy. Oh man, this is crazy. I am not in art school. So you go bang, 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 right? He's shooting the gun, right? This is where you go. And the objections that people have about buying your services are all shot down here. So for example, let's say, for example, you work with somebody and they said, hey, this sounds really good. And in the actual discovery, they said, I'm the type of person who procrastinates. Let's say we have a prospect, yeah. Mr. Prospect number 2. Well, let's go Mrs. Prospect, because why not? We don't discriminate here. Mrs. Prospect, right? Awesome. So let's say we have Mrs. Prospect. So you have Mrs. Prospect, and she says, oh, wow, this is great, Zach, is awesome, but I have procrastination issues. I never take action now, right? Procrastination. And that's a big problem that a lot of people have. But once you figure out they're the type of person who procrastinates, then you can use that in the objection handling. What if they say, I procrastinate, and they're like, hey, look, Mr. Zach, whatever, this sounds good, but I don't want to buy because I need to think about it. I need to talk to my wife, the cat, the dog, the kids, whatever. That is a clear sign that you need to go back and say, hey, look, Mrs. Prospect, that's totally fine. I understand that. However, you just told me in the intro discovery that you're a type of person who procrastinates. And wouldn't you say that that's the reason why you're in the situation? They'd be like, oh, yeah. Oh, that probably is, right? Exactly. Because if you're the type of person who procrastinates now, do you think you can reach your goals of 100K per year? And they'll say no, obviously, because there's no way. Then you kind of lead them into actually answering their own questions and solving their own objections. Now, this is really cool, and we have a really cool objection handling system for you. If you guys want it, please hop on a call with us, and you can talk to us one-on-one, and we'll show you exactly how to get that done. But basically here, when it comes to procrastination, you have to make sure that this specific system, you can actually go back and tell people why they're in this situation and use it against them, not in a bad way, but just in a realistic way. Use it against them to help them close the deal, right? So once you actually figure out the information and you bang off the information and you send shots and shoot down their objections, then you just close the deal. And that's the easiest part, right? Closing the deal, you just ask for their credit card, send them the contract, do all the stuff here. So that's the basic entire system of handling from an actual intro to a pitch to objection handling to closing a deal. Very simple, very awesome. Now, what I want to show you guys as well is how we actually map out the pitch and map out the presentation. So I'm going to slide over to the presentation and show you what it looks like. Okay, so now we're in the actual pitch deck. So this is the presentation section where we walk our prospect through exactly how we can help them. So I just want to give you a quick overview of what we do. Now, what I want you guys to realize is in this scenario, in this specific section, we have to focus on simplicity, right? A lot of people that we work with, students, whatever the case may be, they always want to make things super fancy and super crazy. Oh my gosh, look at the amazing presentation. People don't care, right? People don't care about how good it looks. People care about what you offer. So never get too lost in the sauce when it comes to creating a presentation that actually looks good. Just make sure you can explain it simply and easily to the prospect. And one big thing as well is I want you guys to realize that prospects really only care about how you can help them, right? So don't talk too much about yourself or what you can do. Focus really on what you can do for them, right? Focus on, you of course, have some case studies here and there, but focus more on what you can do, what your service provides. And you want to make sure it's as simple as possible, right? You want to make sure a third grader can read this and be like, oh, this makes sense, right? You want to make sure it's simple. If it's too complicated, people don't understand, or people won't buy what they don't understand, right? So people won't buy what they don't understand. So let's actually take a look at the slide. So first, we have a couple of pillars on how we offer our services. So here we just have a pillar where we talk about what we do with the social media ads. So we run Facebook and Instagram ads for our clients. You can see here as well, we have a bunch of videos here showing the back end or the behind the scenes of what we do. So I'll actually show you in the slideshow to make it easier. So here we can show you in the back end. You can just click play here. And then once we click play here, you can see that it shows the behind the scenes of what we do. So we kind of do it a little bit differently. So we fly to our clients in person and we actually record the content. That's why we can charge a higher price, because our content is much more tailored to the actual prospect. It's a lot easier, right? Now, the next one is we have case studies. So we have case studies that are very in-depth. So here it should be a video, but this is a video of the content we create, the person we work with, and the stats we've got. Right? So we talk about what we've done. Having case studies is very important. Don't worry if you don't have case studies. It's totally fine. What I suggest instead of having case studies, if you don't have any, is to just, lower your price, focus on your guarantee, right? You don't need case studies, but they do help a lot. So case study 1 is that example. Case study 2, case study 3, same thing. Case study 4, we have a lot of case studies in this one. Case study 5, case study 6. So once we have a bunch of case studies here, then we talk about the second pillar, which is where we include AI into their system. So it talks about the AI system that we use, which is a point-wise sense flow. We also show them the back end of how many leads we generated for our clients. We can just keep scrolling here to show them that we know what we're doing, right? Then the third pillar is a lead nurture system. So it's really important in your system to make sure that you can nurture clients or you can nurture leads for your clients and make sure your clients actually are known in their certain specific area. So when a lead opts into the ad, they should know who your client is, what they do, how much money they make, and how much they should charge you, so you understand exactly what the service is before they even call. That's a big thing in sales, is making sure that the client understands who the client is or who the customer is before they hop on a call. Right, so there's that as well. So here's 20% support. And then we like to have a client journey section. So this section just makes it super easy for clients. So every time someone hops on the call, we just show you exactly what we do. So of course, we create the ad on social media, Facebook, they fill out the lead form, we qualify them, we book them on your calendar, you go and close the deal. Literally it, right? Very simple. This whole thing can be summarized in one section. And of course, we have different options here for different offers. Now, I wouldn't suggest to copy this offer, guys. Please don't copy this offer, because you have to make sure your offer works for your specific business and your specific type of service delivery. So don't just copy this offer. Make sure you have an offer that's unique to you, or we have the second one here. And that's really it, right? That's the last one here. So very, very simple pitch deck, very easy. You don't want to spend too much time on the pitch, right? You should really focus more on, like I said, the pain, the confidence, and how you can take them from point A to point B, right? So guys, I hope you got a lot of value from this video. I had a lot of fun recording it. So if you guys want to hop on a call with us and see how we can help you one by one to make sure you can actually scale your agency or start your agency and scale it past 10K, 20K per month, definitely hop on a call with us, and we'd love to help you out. And yeah, thank you so much for your time, guys, and I'm out.